All right, guys, let's get started. Again, this is Vineet. Today is Monday, 14th of July, 2025. And story of the day, story of this Monday, story over the weekend is Bitcoin making all-time highs. It is now trading at over $121,000, but that does not make it a real asset. Just because it's making new highs doesn't give it any intrinsic value. So I am still of belief that this is nothing but a Ponzi scheme and it will come crashing down. And when it does, a lot of people are going to get hurt. And my second thing I wanted to cover is kind of closely related to Bitcoin. So this week is the crypto week in the US, and there are a couple of new legislations or new laws that are passed and that are now going to go in effect. The biggest one being the Genius Act and how it is going to have effect on US dollar and stable coins. If you don't know what a stable coin is nothing but a coin or a cryptocurrency that is pegged to a sovereign fiat currency. So for example, you have stable coins that are pegged to US dollar. You have stable coins that are pegged to euro, and there are some stable coins that are pegged to gold, silver, you name it. There is a stable coin attached to the commodities and fiat currencies. Now you would ask, why should there be a stable coin? Why can't you just have dollars? Why can't you just trade in dollars or buy and sell things in dollars? Why do you really need a stable coin? The reason for the stable coin is to use the infrastructure that is in place for cryptocurrencies and the trade and to make transactions, because transactions with cryptocurrencies, they cost you next to nothing and they are instantaneous. You can send, say, $1 million worth of stable coin to Europe from America in a heartbeat, and it's not going to cost you, it's only going to cost you a few pennies. But on the other hand, if you go to Swift or any other transfer method, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So, and it's going to be traceable and all the regulations that go with it. So all the reporting regulations. But now, Genius Act, what it has done is, till now, stablecoins were, even though they were pegged to fiat currencies, they were pegged to US dollar and gold and other fiat currencies, they were not regulated. Okay, so anybody like you and me could come up with a stable coin, say it's pegged to the dollar, and next thing you know, we go bankrupt and all the stable coins are just gone. So a lot of things like that have happened. For example, something like that happened with Luna Coin and with Terra Coin, where 500 million, $500 million were squandered by this Korean guy in late 2018, 2019, that time frame. So anything like that can happen with the cryptocurrency world. Now what's going on is this Genius Act that will now let banks to now enable to create their own, issue their own stable coins. Also, companies can issue, individuals can issue their own stable coins as long as they can show they have a certain amount of deposit for banks. And for big companies, they have certain amount of US Treasuries to back those stable coins. So what that does, it creates a demand for US dollars, for example, and US Treasuries. So for example, if Amazon wants to have their own stable coin, they will have to show X amount of US Treasury to be able to offer their stablecoin or Amazon coin. Or if Facebook wants to have their stablecoin, they'll have to show, if they want to issue, say, $10 billion worth of stablecoin, they'll have to show at least $4 to $5 billion in treasury bills, so they can issue these stablecoins. Now, where do they get these treasury bills? They go out and buy in the market. So that creates demand for US dollars. That creates demand for US treasuries in the short to medium term. So that says there's a lot of tailwind that is going for US dollars because of these stable coins. Now you can be in Europe, you can be in South America, you can be in Australia and have a stable coin which is pegged to US dollar and is regulated by Genius Act. So now all these banks that are issuing these stable coins, they are now guaranteeing the stability of the stable coin, and there is no or very little chance of them going bankrupt. So it is really, really big for US dollar, and I think from small short term to medium term is going to have a big impact on the US dollar's value. And I'm going to stick my neck out and call it that the US dollar has bottomed, especially in the news of these stable coins. And I think going forward, I think if it's not bottom, we are so close to the bottom, it's as good as it's bottoming. I'm going to stick my neck out and say the US dollar is on its way back up. And I don't think we'll see these levels at least anytime soon or next few years. So I know it's a big statement to make, but that's my conviction on these latest developments that are unfolding in the marketplace. Because if you have a choice, what currency you would want to peg your stable coin to? Euro? Euro is a basket case because you have US dollar, which is the reserve currency of the world. Everybody wants to now trade in US dollars. That's where you want to have your stable coin pegged to. So that said, there is a lot of good news coming out for US dollars in the short to medium term. The only big risk, here is my caveat, the only big risk that I see that can derail the US dollar's recovery is if Jerome Powell quits. There are rumors, I don't know how true they are or they are not, that he may step down with all the pressure that Trump is actually putting on Powell. So if he steps down and Trump gets in a new yes man, they may then drop the interest rates to all-time low, say from 4.5% to say 1%. So they will come an overnight drop 3.5%, and that is going to just jolt the market. That is going to have an unprecedented amount of volatility in the market. Dollar is going to take a hit. Stock markets are going to crumble. It is going to be an absolute nightmare. Short of that, that is my caveat. If that does not happen, we are on our way to higher highs in the dollar market. Think about it, guys. Trump wants lower rates, but stock markets are all-time high. Cryptos are all-time high. Gold is all-time high. Unemployment is all-time lows. Inflation is in check. Economy is going good. Now, why would you want to lower the interest rate? Only thing is going to do is create more money. More money chasing fewer goods is going to increase the inflation than it already is. It is a bad idea right now, even though there's a lot of pressure on Powell to reduce the rates. I think he should not. He may come out and have one reduction of 0.25%, but that's about it. But even though I do not agree with it, but that it doesn't matter what I want. We should only follow what market is telling us. And right now, one rate cut is actually priced into the market. So that said, watch that news very closely. So if Trump cannot really fire Powell. Powell has to quit on his own. If Powell quits, all bets are off. Markets are not going to like it. It is going to be an absolute mayhem. If that happens, we'll come back and review exactly what to expect, and we'll take steps accordingly. Now, that said, let's look at what the dollar is doing right now. So that you're looking at right now is a Bitcoin chart. Look at it. It's a nice move. I like this move, even though I don't like the asset, but the move is rather profound. It's all-time highs, and it looks like it's got more legs. So let's look at US dollar. I took liberty to save some time. I plotted a chart, which is a 1 hour chart. So every candle that you see denotes an hour, and it's making this beautiful channel down where it's making lower highs and lower lows, lower highs, and it's flowing that beautifully. So now if dollar moves higher in euro to 117.25 and breaks this top channel, we will have to take another look. But more important than that, if it breaks 117.50, that will negate my theory that the dollar has bottomed and is going higher. So it needs to keep below 117.50. That move is still intact. If it goes higher than this, we'll have to relook at this. But I'm going to stick my neck out and say I think the lows are in for the dollar. Right now, the way is making this textbook channel and textbook lower lows, lower highs. It's looking very, very good for the US dollar. So if I look at GBP USD, again, same thing, textbook move low. If I look at USD CHF, again, this is moving sideways because of the safe haven demand is moving sideways so a little higher. It's not going as high, as fast as say GBP or euro against the dollar. So that's really what I wanted to cover today. That watch Genius Act and its repercussions very, very closely, because it will have a huge impact on how the dollar behaves going forward, because it's going to have a permanent bid under the dollar. And that is one of my reasons, big reasons, why I think the dollar has put in a bottom. Now, also keep an eye on the key levels that I told you guys about, USD, EUR USD. Let me bring that up. Yeah, key levels on the EUR USD. Just keep an eye on those, and I will keep you guys posted if anything changes. That said, if you guys have any questions, I would be more than happy to take those. I see a couple of guys have just joined. Earlier, guys, I was talking about what's actually taking place with the Genius Act and stablecoin, and how now the banks and big companies can now issue their own stablecoins, and they will be able to do so and peg those coins to, say, US dollar or euro or any other fiat currency, which is going to now create an artificial demand for US dollar and US Treasuries. So that is going to put an artificial bid under US dollar and US dollar denominated treasury bonds. So once that is now in place, that is going to give a huge amount of tailwind to the US dollar, and is going to go higher at this point. And the biggest risk I see in the dollar going higher is Jerome Powell quitting, and then Trump bringing somebody that he really wants to come in and then drop interest rates, which is going to have really, really negative effects on the market, no matter which market it is. The only thing that's going to go high is going to be gold, silver, Bitcoin, everything tangent, everything which is tangible, which is physical, will go higher in that case. Inflation is going to explode, and then the stocks are going to tank in the short term. Long term, they may go higher, but the currency markets will have an absolute mayhem. So that said, this week is going to be very, very interesting to see continuous bounce back of the dollar, to see how Genius Act really affects the cryptocurrency market, and how it actually affects Bitcoin and other coins that are not stable coins. So I will keep you guys up to date. And if you guys have any questions, I would be more than happy to address them now. No? Okay, going once. Going twice. All right, guys, thanks a lot. I will be back same time tomorrow. If you have any questions, drop it down on the public channel, or in the group, the Pip Talk group, or on our Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube. No matter where we are, we check our messages on a regular basis. So that said, that'd be it for today, guys, and I will be talking to you same time tomorrow, which is 2 p.m. UTC. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. All right, guys. Let's get started. Again, this is Vineet. Today is Monday, 14th of July, 2025. And story of the day, story of this Monday, story over the weekend is Bitcoin making all-time